What's up, everybody? I'm Yogi Chris, aka Pimpin' Yogi, and this is part video blog, part podcast, quick podcast episode. Enlightened Masculinity, by the way, is doing the best ever, best month ever by far. It's going to keep going up because we're making improvements on our end. Shout out to TK, Miracle, and all the guys that help with Enlightened Masculinity, including Zay and Damari behind the scenes. Really, everybody. It's all an integrated network. You know, IMC has grown so much since I've been around. I've been a good catalyst for that, and lending my energy to it. And this video is about the February gathering of the beasts that are happening here. And I just went over it with Chris Lopez about like the whole history over the last like 2 years or 3 years, starting from Tabiat to messengers to how Love Spell program was through all that. We are really unplugged from the matrix that most men, pretty much all men are plugged into when it comes to relating with women. When I say pretty much, I'm pretty sure it's like, I keep saying pretty sure because I'm like trying to leave like an insurance policy there in case there are some guys that are unplugged. Some guys are sort of unplugged, but they're not unplugged on a tribal level. They don't have a gang of guys that are unplugged like them. There are gangs, but they're not unplugged about relationships. They're just as trapped as most normie guys, regular guys. They got granola relationships, granola understanding. Some of them are a little bit more than others, but there's exceptions to every rule. Even in like, white picket fence America, there's still like the football jock or whatever that still gets all the girls. That he defies the code in some way. And if he ever gets settled or gets ball and chained to a girl, you'll see him go down the beta spiral. It doesn't matter that he was a football star. He won't retain that. Year by year, he will whittle away into a square, as our friend Boss Hog would call. So, the February gathering has features details that I have on IMC Base 1. The advanced night lectures are very important for, updating yourself daily with innovations. You see how growth happens. I see it almost like a conveyor belt. You kind of hop onto this escalator or this conveyor belt, where every day you see how the relationship evolves you, because he'll go into his relationships and talk about it. He'll interact with the guys in their relationships, not like with the girl there, but like talking about it. And it's a quote. It sounds so gay to say like it's a safe space, but it is safe from the opinions and judgments of women that would one woman would pollute the whole men's group. But it's not like a sympathy group or a cry on my shoulder kind of group or whatever. It's guys that are successful with girls, plus guys that want to be successful with girls. It's a whole mix, but because there's something else that's connecting them. And it's the IMC Nation philosophy, the greater overall philosophy, which is interwoven in the lectures. So the month long of advanced nighttime lectures is a really great way to get woven into the philosophy, so that the main event at the end, the 3-day gathering, is, if you come in person, obviously it's more impactful. Meeting the tribe, the vibe that we have cultivated, of course, coming from AZD, but then we've all mimicked it in our way. And we all were excellent in our own ways coming to this operation here where we live with the teacher and we run camps out of the house where we live in. And now other guys have moved to San Jose. Other guys are basing up in Los Angeles and Phoenix and wherever. And, it's not that that's so innovative that guys live together, but let's say outside of sports teams, outside of the military, where do guys live together that have girlfriends, that have long time relationships that are cool, whatever their relationship status, they're cool guys. Like that's a very rare thing. And then to have multiple of those bases put together like that, that's almost like a fraternity, you could say. But fraternities, you could say some of them have like Illuminati wisdom. And this is a kind of Illuminati wisdom, because even the Illuminati people in those organizations, they're so blue-pilled on relationships because they don't even fight the feminist agenda. They go for they're seeking power and money like that. And this is a power of character in the face of the woman. This is a very powerful thing, very special thing. It's something that when you tap into it, it feels so special to you because it's your life. It's how you portray yourself to the world and what you get for it. So those are the details of it. Advanced night lectures, the main event weekend, some extra bonuses that come with it. What's involved in the weekend is very powerful. Even online is watching the private moment exercises, which if you don't know about that, I mean, the private moment is a common acting tool people have heard about. They've, heard about the private moment, but what AZD teaches comes from his teacher, Manu, and this is part of a lineage. Some some of what makes this so special, this movement, is the lineage. And there's many lineages, like Maharishi Mahesh Yogi from Transcendental Meditation, or even Bikram Yoga, or different martial arts lineages, and in this case, an acting lineage. So there's many lineages. Many people nowadays have had multiple teachers who were masters at what they did, but they didn't follow that teacher for everything. Manu was somebody that Arash pretty much followed for everything, but he did so much outside of his acting with Manu. He was just a lifelong mentor for him, and then eventually he died. But we're tapping in with that when we talk about the private moment. And then we're tapping in with L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology. With people got a beef about that, but they've never read anything L. Ron Hubbard. They've never read other people's opinions about L. Ron Hubbard or other people's views, but they're maybe afraid to read L. Ron Hubbard because they think that you could get brainwashed from reading a book, which is not possible, or they're too lazy. So when looking at that, the Manu acting tech, which is very powerful, it's so you don't go crazy like Heath Ledger kind of thing. That's other people's acting. That's normie acting. This is different kind of acting. Combined with Scientology, that's this lineage we tap into with the private moment exercises, which is very powerful to watch. So as you watch it as an attendee at the gathering, it gives you presence. You could talk about it. You could listen to it in my podcast. I interview the guys, so you don't have to just hear me talk about it, where they talk about the private moment. Very impactful, and will transform your presence in social interacting just by watching someone else go through it. So that's part of the gathering, the main event. And of course, if you come in person, that's sick. Then you go into Rhino, have VIP treatment. So you'll have that in-field experience with AZD and the whole tribe, because it's a tribal game. So the social dynamics, or the pickup of the game that we play, is calibrated to move with a tribe. And it would be calibrated maybe a little differently if you didn't have a tribe backing you or a tribe with you or whatever. And it's definitely a higher level because it's not available to most people. So it's something more rare and precious to have a gang of guys that believe as you do in this social dynamics movement. That's incredibly precious. That's like probably one gang on the planet that's like that. Maybe a gang in China somewhere, or a gang in India or somewhere that's doing this sort of thing too. But nowhere else in like Western world is there a gang of men that are moving like this. Maybe some pickup and dating companies, but just look at their guys and look at our guys. And so we should do that compare and contrast sometime. Comment on this video or this audio if you're listening to the podcast about it, to give us your feedback. Maybe you have some experience with some of those other companies. I have experience with a little bit of experience through like Vince Kelvin and Neil Strauss Style Life, and just really a lot less through Neil Strauss, a lot more with Vince Kelvin. And I've studied some other things, but mostly I've actually just in conversation with guys that themselves have studied other things. And so I get secondhand knowledge, which I know is not valid of the person, but and of course I'm kind of dealing with the dropouts of those programs, but they end up being winners here and succeeding. And not because what they were was good enough, but because they take to the information and they change. And so they weren't getting that change wherever they were coming from. And so I would still put our guys against those guys, and let's do it. I'd like to see it. So that's essentially the idea. Go to imcbase1.com to see whatever the latest gathering is. If you're seeing this recording later, you'll see what the gatherings are. Who AZD is. We got bios there and the bios of the guys that live with him. But really, AZD is the attraction. He's like the gimmick. He's like the fucking, three-titted woman at the fair, or, that can lift 10,000 pounds over his head or whatever. And I'm the guy that's like pitching him, like, come and do this. And, I've done a real good job of it. I've proven my loyalty. I've proven my consistency. And that's why you see so much of me and nobody else, because nobody else posts shit. They post things on Instagram, and that's great. Good for them. They need to step it up. Every one of them. So if you're watching this, I'm talking about you, and I don't want to give exceptions really. Everybody could step it up. The movement would grow exponentially if everybody had this work ethic, but then they wouldn't be great at what they do, because I sacrificed a lot. I gave things up. I was great at many things besides this, before this. I exchanged that for this position in this rising mountain. All right. So women want to be a part of this. Men they polarize. They want to join, or they want to bicker and hate about it in the distance. I'd say just join, come and check it out. One Beast Gathering is worth it. You'll change your life. Maybe you're not used to making that kind of investment in yourself. And, at some point you'll value your time and your life enough to where improving the quality of your communication, your relationships, your understanding of women, so it's less confusing and makes more sense to you, from a deeply alpha, deeply rooted way that is demonstrated to be very stable with 9 or 10 very great relationships to some super girls, you know, is an amazing thing. I live with them. It's the real deal, you know, and we all improve as we study this stuff. So I hope to see you if you want to be a part of it. imcbase1.com. And of course, if you're just catching the channel, subscribe or follow and do all that stuff. Leave a comment. See you next time. Os.